Hi, welcome to the 13th episode. Yeah, 13th episode of Johanna Banana. So let's recap from our last episodes. This is not my recap hat, Aiden.
Oh.
This is my dog. One day, people, one day, I'm gonna get a boxer. Or a pity, I don't know which. But anyways, recap hat, please.
This one.
Yes. All right, recap hat. I'm actually gonna turn it around backwards because. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Now, I took a little break off of my guy list because to do a judgment episode because, like I said, my friend back from the Bay Area that we were endured freshman Spanish together, she kind of inspired me to do this episode. And one thing that I love about my show is it's my show and I can do whatever the freak I want to do. So if I want to take a break in between being walked out on and my next guy, I'm gonna do it. And I did take a little bit of a break. Okay, so after Aiden's dad and I were done, and it was really hard. It was a really hard time for me, just like what I'm going through right now. It was a hard transitional period because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared to be a single mother. I wasn't prepared to be an orphan last year, but you know, this is life and this is what happens. So one thing that has really, I've always been a big fan of music. And one of the words that I love in Spanish, there's certain words that I use in Spanish because I love them. And the funny thing is, Aiden thought I was just making them up. He didn't actually know that they were Spanish words because they're so similar to English that it does kind of sound like, and I'm very cutesy and I make up words all the time. And so he thought I was making them up. So one of my favorite Spanish words that I always use when I'm talking about music is música. I love the word música, just like I love the word chocolate. I will always say chocolate. I won't ever say chocolate. And yeah, anyways. So música was a big part of my life after my divorce. It always was a big part, but it was even more so a big part after my divorce because you kind of, it was my first major transitional moment and I was in total crisis mode like I kind of am in now. So it was really hard. So I turned to music. So I got out some old CDs and the main CDs that I listened to, I was a big still am, wearing my shirt. I'm with all the young girls. I love Taylor Swift. I loved Taylor Swift from the beginning, okay? Because I also do country. I do anything. I like all kinds of music. I do country, I do hip hop, I do not heavy rap, but if it's some rap from back in my high school days, you know, Biggie Smalls, Tupac, I'm there. I love country music, and so I was big into Taylor Swift, and I loved her. I loved her because she made me feel young again. When she did the whole teardrops on the guitar, and she was loving the guy from afar. That was me. I was always loving guys from afar. I didn't have my first boyfriend until I was 16. I was not prepared for that kind of thing until I was 16. So I really liked her music because it was so relatable and it made me feel so young. Like 15 in high school and hoping one of the senior boys looks at you. I mean, that's so me. Her music was so relatable. But what got me through the divorce was this Red CD, okay? 2 songs. Okay, so from this point forward, in my relationships, every guy that I've had a relationship with, or even not a relationship with, a situation with, has had a song, a Taylor Swift song. Okay, so of course, my big relationships, Aiden's father, he has the most Taylor Swift songs, but the ones that he has is Red, for my Taylor Swift fans that know the song Red, and I Almost Do, and All Too Well. Okay, those were the songs that kind of summed up my relationship and they got me through my divorce. Another song that got me through my divorce, and I recommend it to people when they're going through a breakup, is Sarah Evans, another country artist. Okay, and it's a little bit stronger. Okay, listen to that song when you're going through a horrible breakup. She got walked out on, so she wrote that song, and it's very fitting. okay? But I watched a documentary today for my people that know her, because she really paved the way for angry girls everywhere to just vent and talk about the way men have treated us and things like that, and relationships, was Alanis Morissette. I watched a documentary, people, on Amazon Prime today, because this was like, still is like the second most album that's been purchased in America, and it's The Jagged Little Pill. She was the first one to write, You Ought to Know, okay? And she paved the way for Taylor Swift and some of these other people. I brought this CD too. This was a song. Aiden was a big Lady Gaga fan when he was little. When he was having a meltdown in the back of my car, because you know how they have to sit in the back when they're toddlers, they sit in the back, and I had the little mirror off the review mirror thing so I could watch him. And his song, what was your song, Aiden? Aiden's coming in for this. What was your song that just, if you were in the middle like, having a meltdown, what I put on for you?
It was, for some reason, Poker Face.
Aiden loved Poker Face. He would just be a little toddler in the back of his car seat, and he would have a meltdown, start crying, and I'd put in the CD, and he would say, Poker Face, and he just loved it. It calmed him down. So anyways, and another interesting thing that I discovered when I was getting my old box, who has CDs anymore? This is a new thing. When I got my box down to get out these CDs, Aiden was like, what is this? How do you open it? He didn't know, right? He didn't even know. He thought he was going to break it. And so, he didn't know about CDs. And don't you remember, I remember as a kid, when I was in high school, and my aunt got me a CD player, okay? I thought, Aiden, that was the most amazing thing ever. I was your age. I was probably your age, Aiden, 14 or 15. It was early years in high school, freshman, sophomore, I can't remember which. But I got a CD. And what CD did my aunt give me? You want to know what it was?
What?
It was Reba McEntire, and Fancy was her name. And then later on, as an adult, I got a rap, and I named her Fancy, because she was called a Fancy Rat, and Fancy was her name. So music has been a big part of my world. I love it. Ask anybody that rides with me in the car. It's kind of like I'm a horrible driver. I will say I'm a horrible driver because I hate driving. But I love my music, okay? So like the first time, Sydney, remember the first time I gave you a ride to work, girl? It was like so much fun, wasn't it? It was like a concert. Well, I was playing Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, anything that's cutesy, booty shaking and fun. And so when I'm in the car, I have fun with my music. All right, so we're gonna get to our next guy. My next guy that I met after Aiden's dad. Now we're gonna get to this, I've lost track. Let's get on our timeline. Let's see. I don't know where I'm at. I think I'm on number 4 or 5 of the guys. Anyways, I was newly divorced, all right? And my self-esteem was like in the freaking toilet, because when you get walked out on, it's really upsetting. And I was not expecting it. So when the rug is pulled out from under you, you go a little crazy, and your self-esteem, you're just like you're searching for somebody to find you attractive. You're searching to find somebody to love you. You're searching to get the normalcy that you want. I always say that there are some women that know how to get these guys right at the right time, because they can get some guys that have been married for so many years, and so they've been, I say, housebroken, and then they'll get them at that right time. Because the thing is, when you've been married or been with somebody for a very long time, whether it's bad or good or whatever, it's familiar. And that's your routine, and that's what you're used to. So when you're suddenly on your own again, you're constantly trying to recreate anything familiar. My dad would say to me, you're not getting back to, and I don't believe in getting back together anymore, but he would say to me, when you get back together with this person, it's not because they were this wonderful person and this relationship was so healthy. I mean, hello, it ended, okay? But the reason that you're getting back together with that person is because of the familiarity of it. It feels familiar. And what's familiar feels safe, okay? And so I was desperately trying to get back into relationship mode because I had been in a relationship for a decade, and now I wasn't in a relationship, and I was worried that I didn't want you all. I started out really well. I was just like, I'm hoping I'm going to find somebody, and then this person, this is my wishful girl fantasy thinking. I was hoping I was going to find somebody because Aiden was, he was 5. Okay, so he was 5 at this point. He was 4, we divorced. He was 5 at this point. So Aiden was 5, and I thought this would be a good time to get some new guy into Aiden's life, and then it'll be familiar, and we'll just pretend like I was never walked out on, okay? We're just gonna fix it, and I'm gonna meet some wonderful guy, and we're just, I believe everything happened for a reason, and it's gonna be great. 11 years later, you know, Aiden's a freshman in high school, and we never found a guy. But anyways, that was my wishful thinking when I first got whacked out on, and I first decided to go back to online dating. So this is the first time I did online dating in Arizona. I had done online dating, I think I mentioned in a previous episode, after my divorce. After my divorce, I had done online dating, and in the Bay Area, and that was different because I was young and I didn't have a child, and I had never been married. I had been married before, but I didn't have a child, and I had been married very long. It was just a different situation than this time. This time it's very different. It was the first time I was dating as a single parent, and I had never done that before, and I was a little nervous and scared. I had a horrible self-esteem at that time. Didn't think I was worth anything at that point, and so I went on to Plenty of Fish. Now it was different, okay? This was like 11, 12 years ago, okay? This was a long time ago. This is when I first started. And I went on Plenty of Fish, and I saw this guy on there. He just seemed nice. I wanted somebody completely different from Aiden's dad. Aiden's dad was more, well, he was serious, but he was more, he was a tradesman, and he was more into he did Slipknot and Korn, heavy metal, raging music. I mean, he was very different from my first husband, okay? And so I kind of was going back to more of the simple, plain kind of guy. I wanted to go with a nice guy, really wanted to find a nice guy that I had things in common with, that I could be silly with. That's what I was looking for. So when I saw this profile, this guy seemed really nice. He put it in there like he generally cared about people. He was from Montana originally. He said that he cooked. Anyways, I thought he was a really nice guy. And anyway, so our first date, he asked me, this was a really nice date. Our first date, he asked me what my favorite food was, and being a Bay Area girl, I always go Asian. So I said Japanese, and he took me to a very nice Japanese restaurant, very nice. And we really connected. He was so nice. I was able to talk to him. We watched the same shows. We both watched House at the time. I loved House. We watched House. And it was nice in the beginning. He had a child that was the same age as Aiden, so they got along for a little while. You know how kids are. But in the beginning, it was very nice, and and I should also say that he grew up in the church like I did. He was Lutheran. If you know anything about Protestant churches, Lutheran is very similar to the Episcopal Church. So I kind of felt like we had something in common. I thought, okay, this is good. He's been raised in the church. Okay, great. All right. Well, okay, a little background about him. Okay, he worked here. He's a comic book store guy. That's what we're calling him, because he worked at a comic book store. He lived in a home that he didn't own. His parents owned it. He said he was paying rent. I don't know how much rent he was paying, but he really didn't. I mean, the house was really, really bare. Okay, it didn't really have anything. So of course he came to my place because I had the internet, I had furniture, things like that. He had a bed mattress on the floor. I mean, he was basically, we were the same age. I'm trying to think how old we were at this time, in our 30s, our late 30s, I believe. We were the same age, but he was living like some college kid, and he said he was a cook, so I thought that was awesome. Of course, he had dropped out of culinary school. I should have realized that was kind of red flag, because he had quit other jobs too. Again, red flags, but I had a low self-esteem, and I was just going, and he had a weird relationship with his ex and the baby mama. It was really close, but again, I just had a low self-esteem, and I was looking for anybody to love me. So here's our first major fight. This is our first major fight was on Aiden's birthday. I think it was his 6th birthday, and we decided to do it at Chuck E. Cheese. We had our 2 kids, his son spent the night at our place. They had a little sleepover. Anyways, that morning of Aiden's birthday party, his baby mama called, and he answered the phone, and we're here in my room, and we're in bed together, and we were about to get up, and she called. She wanted to move in with him, and he said, sure, go ahead, move in with me. Baby mama wanted to move in with him. And I'm sitting in bed with him, laying in bed with him, and he tells me that, I hear him say, yeah, of course, move in with me. I was devastated. I was very devastated because I'd already, had cheating issues and things like that. And I knew that I couldn't live with him, or I couldn't be in a relationship with him knowing that he was living with baby mama. That just really bothered me. So I basically told him, look, I'm sorry, but I cannot continue this relationship if you're going to let her move in. I just can't. And here's the thing that he did. Comic book store guy liked to play the victim, okay? He cried and got more emotional than I did, which says a lot because I'm the queen of drama. And so he ended up sitting on my bed, crying like a big baby. I didn't know what to do. What the freak? It's Aiden's birthday. God, I was so upset, but we had to proceed. We went to the hotel where my dad and my aunt were staying so that the boys could go swimming. So he took the boys swimming down at the hotel. And what did I do? I was up in the hotel room crying with my aunt over the fact that he was letting baby mama move in, okay? Now, as the day proceeded and the party at Chuck E. Cheese went on, he had changed his mind and said, I don't want to lose you. I won't let her move in. Okay, so we got over that hurdle. Whew, okay, that's good. All right, the next hurdle was even higher and even harder. This one is really bad. Okay, so if any kids are watching, if you have any small children watching, this is going to be graphic, so I'm just saying. Okay, so this is sexually graphic. Now, our next situation happened again here at our place because we were never at his place. He didn't have any furniture or anything. So anyways, we're here at our place, my place, and I worked nights. I think I had mentioned that. I had worked, this is before I was U-Haul call center. I was working nights for American Express call center again. But it was night because Aiden was little and I was trying to be there for him during the day. So I was working from 10 p.m. to I think 4 or 5 a.m. I don't remember. And then I would take Aiden to kindergarten, take a little nap, but then I would be there for him. This is all what started my horrible sleeping habits, was working nights, working that shift. I worked that job for 2 years. Okay, so it was at nighttime and I'm working my job. I had my headset on and I was able to do this job. I had a laptop, so I was able to do this job in bed. And so I had my laptop in bed and he had his laptop in bed too. We had our laptops. This is how computer geeky we were. We were so into our Facebook games. We had a lot in common as far as games, and we used to play Facebook games where you'd have to help each other. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these games, but there's some games where there's chores you have to do, and you have to collect 6 cotton balls from a neighbor or whatever. Anyways, we had our little castles, we had our virtual world, we were always helping each other. So we was on the computer. So since I work nights, I wouldn't get phone calls a lot. Sometimes it would be kind of dead. So we would watch movies or I would play video games. And then when I get a phone call, obviously I'd have to work. So he had his laptop and he was playing a video game, or I thought he was playing a video game on a laptop. I was working. And so I was on to taking a call, taking a complaint, filling out the complaint form like you're supposed to be doing. And that's what I was doing. I was taking call, filling out the complaint form. All of a sudden, I look over at his laptop while I'm on the phone with a customer. I should have never done that because it was very hard to keep my composure after this. And I look over at his laptop and there's a webcam model. Okay, she's this girl, she's covered in tattoos. Not that I'm judgmental or anything, but she's covered in tattoos. I have one tattoo, it was very painful. I'll never go through it again. I'm like thinking, how the freak can you get covered in tattoos, covered. Completely naked. This is a porn site that he is on. A porn site, yes. This is a porn site. This is a webcam porn model. She's shaking her stuff. Come on, boys. Hi. Because apparently you have to pay to see the full show. So she's doing this enticing thing to get guys to pay. I'm just like, this is another thing that Sydney does. I'm shocked. I was shocked. I felt all hot and I was just so upset. I'm like, now, when I tell this story to guys that I have online dating, okay, tell this story to guys because I'm like, don't ever do porn in front of me. Don't ever. But when I tell guys stories, they don't think, oh, that's awful or oh, how disrespectful. No. Online guys, when I tell them this story, you know what they say? Well, were you giving it up? Yes, okay. We had a very healthy sex life, or so I thought. Granted, I wasn't a porn star covered in tattoos and piercings and that, but yes, I was giving it up. But that's so stupid. That's beside the point. So anyway, so I look over and I'm just like, I'm horrified. And he's horrified. I guess he's kind of embarrassed or whatever. I don't remember what happened because at that point you're just seeing red. I'm trying to keep myself together when I'm on the phone with this customer and I'm keeping myself together. And I finish up the call and I'm devastated. I kick his ass out. I kick him out and I'm like, never again, right? Okay, so I'm thinking that this is over and I'm just gonna let it go. I didn't tell anybody that this happened because I was just so embarrassed. Like it was something that I had never experienced, okay? I know that guys do porn, I get it, okay? But right in my face, in my own home, like and I'm right there next to you, like that's just so wrong. But again, because my self-esteem was in the toilet, I let it go and told him never again. Well, it happened again. Yes, it happened again. And I don't remember if it was a webcam model or if it was just a porn video, but it happened again while I was working at night. And at that point is when we started having issues, and that was our beginning of the end. And also, I would say at this point, that when it happened the second time, I was so devastated because it's like, come on, I told you. This is where I get very, very judgmental. This is where I get very upset with people and the guys that I'm in a relationship with. If something happens and I get upset, okay, and this is something that bothers me, and I tell you that this bothers me, and you do it again, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't get that. Like, why? So he did it again, and I kicked him out again. I don't think I talked to him for like a week. Now, I did at this point because it happened again and I was so devastated, I couldn't contain. I had to talk to somebody. I had to say something. So I said something I said something to my dad and my stepmother at the time. Now, my stepmother was very, no, that's awful. He should not watch porn at all. You should never date a guy that watches porn. It's degrading to women. And then they have these expectations that we're going to do the same, yada, yada, yada. And she's right. I get that. Now, my dad, because my dad, like I said in my non-judgmental episode, was more non-judgmental about the whole thing. He was like, now, Johanna, this doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. Guys look at sex differently. Guys are visual, you know. And at this point, my stepmother was like, okay, this is where your father and I disagree. And they did disagree on it. And I'm of the middle ground between my stepmother and my father, okay? Fine. If I'm not around or whatever, it's your own home. That was my big philosophy. Do this at your own home. Do not do this in front of me. And yeah, and so devastating. And I don't know if this has ever happened to any of you women have. I'm sure women have, I'm sure you've seen I've done that, guys places, you open a drawer, magazines, videos, whatever. But to actually see it right there in front of you, not once, but twice, devastating for me. Now, I know maybe there's some women that are fine with that. I've even had talks with guys online that say, would you watch a porn with me? That's like guys' fantasy, to watch a porn with a girl. Again, not my thing. I don't view sex that way. So it's not my thing. I'm not knocking it if that's fine for some people, but that wasn't my thing. And so that was the beginning of the end for us. In my Valentine's Day special, I will share the end of our relationship because it happened the day after Valentine's Day. So stay tuned for our Valentine's Day special so you can find out how that ended, because it just got better and better with Comic Book Store Guy. And it was upsetting because in the beginning, I think I had a honeymoon period of almost, I think, 8 months, which is amazing. I never have had a honeymoon period that long again since then. And that's sad, that's really sad because it was really good. I met his parents. His parents loved me. It was just sad. It was just so sad that it had to end that way. Every relationship, I feel relieved when it's over, but I feel sad, I feel sad that it didn't work out, because I don't want to be dating all these people. I never did want to date all these people, but I don't want to be mistreated. And that was very disrespectful. I was totally mistreated. And that was a no bueno, wrong. So yeah. So that was the first guy that I dated for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, Comic Book Store. That was the guy that I dated after Aiden's dad. So yes, that's where we're at. Thank you for listening. Okay, so for tonight, we are going to do a hope story. I decided what I'm going to be doing for my episodes, every other episode, it's going to do my hat, my hat with my guys, and then it'll be hope. So since last episode we did the hat, we're going to do the hope episode because my father always believed in love and marriage, and I still do too. This is why I'm doing this, is so that I can try to break some of my bad habits and get into a nice, healthy relationship eventually. So we're gonna do a nice story of hope. I reached out to a former coworker of mine, good friend. She was actually a bridesmaid in my she was my matron of honor in my first marriage. And it's crazy how long ago that was, huh? Anyways, so I'm going to tell you the story about how she met her husband 28 years ago. Yes, they have been married for 28 years now. They have 2 wonderful boys. I remember when she had her first son. He was practically probably the second baby I held in my entire life. I was not a baby person at all, okay? My niece was, I think, the first baby I held, and I think my friends were to share the story with her. Her son, I think, was the second baby I held. And would you like to know what the third baby I held was? My own, Aiden. Before I had Aiden, I was freaking out. I'm like, oh damn, I have not really held babies, and I thought I was gonna break him, but you know, he's still alive, so it's all good. Yeah, I was not a baby person. I did not think I'd ever have kids until I had the baby fever, which is ironic because I got the baby fever at 28 and these people have been married for 28 years. How funny. All right, so let me tell the story about how she met her husband 28 years ago. It's a very nice story. I never knew he was so romantic. Anyways, so they met at a nightclub back in 92. Yeah, the 90s. I love the 90s. I love the 90s. Anyways, so they met at a club in 92. He was a military guy. He's ex-military now, but he was a military guy. I think the Navy. I don't know. I got it wrong, so sorry. Anyways, he was stationed in the Bay Area and they met at a nightclub. Then the next day, he surprised her. Yes, I know, I never get these great surprises. So I love when I hear other people getting great surprises. So she had worked a long day and she didn't even know. I don't know, maybe she thought she wasn't gonna see him again. I have no idea. She was really surprised. All of a sudden, he shows up after work. Yeah, at the public transportation system that they have in the Bay Area, BART. New York has subway, Washington DC has metro, we have BART in the Bay Area. So anyways, he shows up at BART, he has flowers, yeah, flowers, and he was waiting for her for several hours to get off of work. I don't think I've ever had a guy wait for me, other than my dad. But yeah, he waited for her for several hours with flowers in hand, and I mean, what a nice surprise, you know, that is so sweet. And yeah, anyway, so they met in 92 at the nightclub, surprised her after work with the flowers at the BART station, and they stayed in touch, correspondence throughout that time, I would think, because in 93, a year later, they got married and then moved in. So it's kind of interesting. It was kind of cool. This is the first time that I've heard a story. I'm sure I'll hear some more, but this is the first time I heard a story where they didn't move in at first. I thought everybody moves in, tries it out, and then gets married. I think this is pretty cool that they got married and then moved in with each other. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Now, the key to their relationship, because I always ask people, what is the key to your relationship? What keeps you going? And she thinks that she says the key to their relationship is compromise, which is major. Yes, you want to compromise. That's big. The other thing that I thought was really nice that she mentioned, and this was really good, this really stood out to me, is she never used yours and mine. Don't ever use yours and mine. I don't know, this is the first time I've heard this. This sounds wonderful. It's ours and everything. We share everything. And that's what she said. They share everything. And I thought that was nice. I thought, yes, okay, that is important. My dad and my stepmother always said it was very important on how couples handle conflict. That's what makes and breaks a couple. Because any relationship has conflict, okay? And how you handle conflict is really important. And when I was hearing her story, I thought when she's talking about compromising, never using yours or mine, those are all good strategies on how to resolve situations, good strategies on how to not have to resolve a situation. And so yeah, that's an awesome story. They have been married for 28 years now. They have 2 boys. I think they're like adults now. I think their youngest one is like 20, I saw just a little bit ago. And I thought, wow, time flies. But anyways, that's the key to their marriage, is compromising, never using yours or mine, everything they share. And she said something else that was really poignant to me. Nobody's perfect. There's not a perfect marriage. There's not a perfect life. And there's right. we don't go for perfection. We go for what works, okay? And it works for them, and that's awesome. Hearing stories like them and other stories that I've shared with the other couples that are happily married and still together and, you know, down in the trenches and going through life together, because life sucks. Life is hard. And I think it's nice to hear these stories of people that are a team. I often say that Ada and I are a team, you know, and I would like to not have to, you know, Ada and I will always be a team, but it'd be nice to get away from that a little bit, because Aiden's going to be older and he's going to move out eventually. It would be very nice to actually be a team with somebody. I want to find somebody that I'm going to compromise with, and that I'm going to control my emotions with, and that I'm going to have to work out problems with. That would be nice. I've never found a person that wants to put in that work with me, but I'm hoping eventually I will find somebody that's going to put in that work, compromise with me, and we can share everything. I never really felt like I ever shared with people. I shared a lot, but I never got anything in back. I feel like I said, saying in my Valentine's Day episode, I never feel like it was like an even playing field. Yeah, no. So anyways, that was a nice story, and thank you so much, girl, for sharing it. Okay, so thank you so much for watching another episode of Johanna Banana. I forgot to say in the recap, for people that were concerned, like Deadhead Tina, thank you so much. I have not been at the ER. Yes, I was so happy. I think I've gone one week at least, maybe 2 weeks. It's a blur sometimes, my life. But I think I've gone, I think 2 weeks now without having to go to the ER. I've also gained weight and I've maintained my weight. So I'm very, very happy. I'm ready to be fat and happy again, Aiden. I would like to say I did not lose weight because of vanity. I really didn't care what I weighed. I lost weight because food wasn't fun anymore. And apparently that's how I grieved. Apparently food is about control. So that's how I was controlling my thing, was I wasn't eating. So anyways, I just wanted to say that I am doing a lot better. I'm drinking water on a regular basis. I can't even finish a soda now, Aiden. I tried to drink Pepsi today and it tasted too sweet. I think I'm becoming you and started to drink water more. So yes, so things are better as far as health-wise for me. And I have my first counseling session tomorrow, my grief counseling session. So I don't know, Aiden, do you think I'll be able to talk there? I wonder. Yeah. I grew up in counseling, so it's kind of like, it's going to kind of be like my nice familiar, right? We're talking about familiarity, counseling, talking about my feelings. I could do that. I need to find someone that can actually listen to me. That would be nice. I want to find a guy that this is what I used to do to my dad, emotionally throw up on, you know, and that's what I do. I need to find a guy that I can emotionally throw up on. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So anyways, and I would like to say, and I never said this, I don't think I did say this, but there was a guy that was interested in me, when was that, a few months ago, Aiden? Remember one night we got a text message really late at night. It was an old guy that I never met him. But anyways, he got late at night and it was like, why are you giving me this text message late at night? It was a booty call text. Remember, Aiden, when I got the booty call text? Well, anyways, I got a booty call text a couple months ago from a guy. This is right when I first started my show. I think I had only done 2 episodes of Johanna Banana. And you know the booty call text that you get at like 11 o'clock at night. Hello. Hello there. On a Friday night. Hello there. And I said, hello there. Hi. Yeah, I got a channel. So here, I'll make you a deal. If you watch my episodes for this whole year, I don't know if I'll do it for a whole year, but you watch all my episodes, and because I told him I'm not dating for this whole year, because he wanted to know if I, was interested. I'm like, nope, not dating. I have a YouTube channel. So I said, you know what? If you watch my show, hope you're watching there, dude. If you watch my show, all my episodes, and then you want to go on a date with me, okay. I figure any guy to watch these episodes, Aiden, will really know me and really know us. Yeah.
So if you're ready to take that on in a year, dude, if you're out there watching my episodes, I'll go on a date with you. Yeah, I will. So I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're watching. And yeah, one day, maybe in a year, I told him if he watches all my episodes, then he could take me on a date. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that guy. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, thank you so much for watching Johanna Banana. And I did find my guide chart. Comic book store guy was number 4 on my list. There are 13 guys on my list. So we're just getting started. We're just getting started. But this was number 4. So next time on Johanna Banana, we're at number 5. Post-it note guy. Post-it note. Yes, post-it note. Very embarrassing story, but you know, we gotta talk about these things. So anyways, thanks again for watching Johanna Banana. Please subscribe.